Hello and welcome to Real Chat with Kat, the podcast dedicated to igniting your entrepreneurial spirit and empowering you to conquer new horizons. In this podcast, we chat with inspiring entrepreneurs on their journey to success through some amazingly insightful and expansive conversations. These episodes thrive on thought-provoking chats where our guests fearlessly explore their path to success, sharing their experiences, failures, and triumphs. No topic is off limits as we deep dive into the talked about and not so talked about pieces it takes to build a business, overcome limiting beliefs, deal with personal struggles, and everything in between that shapes our lives and our businesses. I'm your host, Kat Polsonelli, creator and founder at The Lotus Effect, where we believe that success is not just about strategies and tactics, it's about cultivating a powerful mindset and creating customized business operations that align with you and your true purpose. Whether it's mastering time management, improving productivity, enhancing leadership skills, or simply fostering a growth-oriented mindset, we'll provide you with the tools and strategies to flourish in both your business and personal life. I'm so excited to have you join us today in this episode, so get ready to feel empowered and inspired as we learn together and from one another on how to rise above challenges, break through limitations, and unlock our full potential. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome to Real Chat with Kat. I'm so excited to have you guys here in this episode today. So thank you so much for joining us and meet my amazing guest, Miss Sally Lotz. I'm so excited to have you here, Sally. So thank you so much for joining me today. Please do us all a favor and tell us who you are, what it is that you do, and what got you into it.
Well, my name is Sally Lotz. I am an author. I am a writing coach, and I am a mentor. I don't know how I got into writing. That's always been my thing ever since I was a little kid. So it just was, what I did. But as far as getting into the coaching part, it was kind of a long route getting there. I worked in the accounting industry for many years. I hated it. And then I did my own thing with some small businesses. And I just had an epiphany one day that I could take my passion and my love for writing and help other people write their stories.
I love that.
That's it in a nutshell.
And you have a book as well that you've written. And I definitely want to make sure we touch base on that today too. Because I think that, your story behind the book and some of the other pieces are really, really unique. And I love that you were able to marry your passion with your journey as well in this story. And I love following you on social media and seeing all the posts.
You're a stalker. Okay. I have a few of those.
Of sorts.
I have a few. Okay.
So you've been writing then since you were young? Was that just one of your pastimes?
Yeah, I used to write plays for me and my little sisters.
What?
They were much younger than me. My older sister did not want to cooperate. So I played all the parts, of course. So we used to put those on and perform. And then just for me, as a child, I had ADHD and I still have it, but it was just a creative outlet for me. And I not only write stories, but I'm really good at making them up. So makes me sound like a liar. I'm not a liar.
No, you know what though? It's so true because my oldest one has ADHD. He was diagnosed when he went into second grade, which was when, reading and really understanding your words and stuff became a thing. And what I noticed was he had a really hard time sitting down to tell you one story, right? He always wanted to tell 3 in one. But when he figured out when he figured out like things that he really liked, it was wild to see how his brain like flipped, because like he got into reading, and it was like that was his creative outlet, like that was his downtime, and that boy could read for hours, and he was solely interested in it. Like he had an obsession with dinosaurs, and then the Titanic, and then airplanes.
Oh yeah. It's called hyperfocus. So you have something that really interests you. You literally, you can't hear anything else going on around you. Sometimes when I'm writing, I don't hear anything. I was at Starbucks one day, got up after writing there for 2 hours, and out in the parking lot, there's like 5 fire engines, a couple of ambulances, police cars, big truck pile up on the freeway off ramp, and I didn't hear any of it.
Oh gosh.
I was literally just sitting there focused on what I was working on and didn't hear it. So
okay, so to me that sounds like a superpower, because I get distracted by all the noise.
So we ADHD people, we have superpowers. Yes.
I love to classify it that way, because my son's still like, even now, like he is more aware of it, right? I mean, he's only 19, but he's more aware of it and kind of what it does, so he's able to catch himself with some things. But I love to see it when he gets really, really hyper focused on like building something, right? Like he loves working on cars and things like that, because you can just see the wheels turning. And it's interesting, because I personally think that because he thinks a little bit different, and the way that his brain functions, like he comes up with creative solutions to things as well, which probably makes total sense why you're a great storyteller.
It's completely what I do all the time. I'm always coming up with a creative solution. Nothing's going to stop me. I'll find a way around it.
So tell us a little bit about your book, the name of it, and just kind of the story behind that as well, because that to me is super intriguing.
Well, it is my 4th book. But this one is the young adult novel, and it's called The Truth is a Lie. And it's kind of a play on words, because it's the story of my life, but fictionalized, of growing up in a cult that called themselves The Truth. And I like to tell people it's the world's oldest and biggest doomsday cult, and they're very much active today. But it's how my childhood was growing up in an abusive home and in this cult, and then how I was able to get out at age 16. I was actually kicked out, but that's, but I got out at age 16. And the recovery from that was a long time period for me, and I didn't really want to talk about it for many years. So writing that book was kind of it wasn't a healing process for me. It was more of a help book, a self-help manual for somebody else. Because I'd already quite healed I'd done all of the work I needed to do for myself, but because I'm a writer, I wanted to, 1, stop this cult from hurting anyone else, and 2, I wanted to be the voice of the unheard voice that's sitting in the schoolroom, classroom next to you, so you can understand what I'm going through as a person. And perhaps just for me, it was the one kind person who said something nice to me, that helped me, when my locker wouldn't open, that helped me, with my homework, that said good morning to me. I was in such a sheltered environment where I was told all of these people that weren't part of the cult, I was supposed to hate them. They were awful. They were evil. And so just, it's just an awareness. That's what I was doing with this. I was bringing awareness.
Yeah. I love that. And now I know that, you're also a writing coach. Do you find that, a lot of other people that you work with are kind of using writing as a similar way, like you were saying, like where they are getting to share their story? And I understand that some probably use it as a healing tool as well. But, from your perspective, do you find is that kind of a common ground for a lot of people that kind of decide that they want to write a book?
Yeah. Well, in fact, I did use writing as a healing tool early on, but it wasn't my book. It was other writing.
Mhm.
And yes, I do. That's who in fact, I like to work with is people who have a story from their past where they do have something they overcame, where they did have a shift in their life, where they had an aha moment and they want to turn it around into something good. I call it someone else's survival manual. Or they can, or like what I did was fictionalize it. So that's what I love to work with that. Because I help them. I'm not coaching them through emotions, and I'm not a life coach or a counselor. Don't I want to put that out there? But what I can do is help them to use those emotions and those feelings and go back and use them in your writing. And even if you're not a writer, yeah. In fact, I'm starting to put together a workshop. It's just happened over the last couple of days called writing. I get it backwards because I'm also dyslexic. Writing fiction from fact. And so it's how to write your story as a fictional story from facts that actually happened. Yeah. So it's coming together.
Oh, I love that.
Some people want to write their story, but they are really afraid of hurting somebody else in their life.
Yeah.
And so this is a way to do it without doing that.
That makes total sense. I didn't even think about that. And now like I'm thinking of, like some of the books I've read over the years and I'm like, oh my gosh, like what part of that was actually someone's story and you just didn't realize it because of the way that it's actually put together.
Yeah. Writers do that all the time. We put people we meet in our books. So if you're mean to me, be careful. You're going to end up in a book and you might die. A lot of my antagonists are people I've met rolled together. I take their personalities and I put them together. A lot of my friends end up being a character. So it's what we already do, but it's just taking your life experience and your perceptions and your observations. And the nice part about it is you don't have to be a writer. In fact, I don't want you to be a writer. It's not, you don't have to have a degree in fine arts or take creative writing classes.
Now, why, when you say that you really don't want them to be a writer, why is that? Is it more of an authentic piece of it? Does it mean that they're not, what's the word, already shaded toward like one side of seeing things? Or
maybe, but I mean, I don't care really. I'm just joking. I don't care if you're a writer, but mostly a lot of writers, sometimes we've already set in our ways and we're not always open. And I'm okay with working with somebody who's a writer, but I'm preferring people who aren't, because they're the ones who say, I have a story I want to tell, but I don't know where to tell it. I don't know where to start. I don't even know if I want to do this. And they're scared because they don't know what to do. So that's probably why I prefer working with non-writers, because I can help them through the process.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes total sense. And especially for those, that do have, that one story that they feel extremely compelled to tell. Like, I'm not a writer, never dreamed of being a writer, but, I talk about this in my podcast a lot, that I'm in a process of writing my own book, because I do feel like I have a duty to share my story, to bring that support and understanding to other people who, like you were saying, it's kind of like their self-help book. It's a way to reach other people that you may not necessarily be in front of. And I think that writing is such a beautiful form of that, because not everybody wants to announce it on social media. Not everybody wants to be a speaker and get in front of large crowds of people to have conversations. So writing something, it allows people the chance to get it out, to share it, and for it to reach the right people without them necessarily having to be that, extreme extrovert that's just like ready to do all the things.
Exactly. And if you're afraid of somebody reading it, and putting two and two together, there's these great things called pen names. You can use a fake name. You can make up a name. But, there's a lot of, life coaches out there, and there's a lot of self-help people out there who got into their industry because they want to give back because of something that happened to them. And that's my ideal person to work with, because they've got something to share, and it gives them credibility with their clients, and it gives them a connection. And the transparency with their clients. So
yeah.
So
it's almost like a really good, what's the word? Boy, my brain is leaving me today. It's a way to build that know, like, and trust. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, credibility and trust. Yeah, because I work with people, and I'm not I'm going to promise you a bestseller. That's not me. I'm a writer, and so what I'm promising is that you're going to get that story out of your head and your heart, and get it out on paper or on your computer or whatever, however your method of writing is. So that's what I'm promising.
Yeah,
because for me, an Amazon bestseller, that's okay, because it's easy to do. But there's games you play. But with bestseller, to me, is the New York Times bestseller. So I can't promise anybody that.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. And it, like, depending on what's going on in the world and how things shift and all, like, there's so many.
It's a game. It's a game, and you don't know.
Yeah,
it just takes the right person to read your book, and it takes off. So
now I know that you have this amazing ability to help someone write a book in 30 days, which to me just like blows my mind.
If you're brave. Yeah.
Right. So is there like this huge intensive, sorry, I'm coming from someone that has no clue what I'm talking about. Is it like this huge intensive of getting that done if you're wanting to share something in that amount of time? Or how much time do you typically see that you end up spending with someone that wants to share that story, but does want to get out there a lot quicker than, most people like me, who's been writing on my book already for like 3 or 4 months. And I feel like I have made like zero effort in getting it moved forward.
Well, let me say, if you're paying me to write your book in 30 days, you're going to write it, because you've made a commitment. So that's number one. I don't work with anybody unless after I have a consultation with them, I feel like they're going to make the commitment, because I don't want you walking away saying, well, I paid her this much and I didn't get my book done.
Yeah.
And I also have hourly coaching. That's a new thing. I have like little blocks. You can just buy 3 hours of coaching.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. And the best part of that is, if you decide you want to go for the 30-day coaching, I take price off of what you've already paid for. So you get like a little, it's like a little incentive. But for the 30 days, it's a 6-week program altogether. And I start with them, whoever it is. We talk about their project, what they see it as, why they're doing it, how they want to see it published at the end, because that determines a lot of factors, like the big one, which is word count. And
really,
word count, because if you're going traditional publishing, you have to have a certain number of words in your book. We don't do pages, we do words.
Oh, I did not know that.
If you're doing it yourself, you can do whatever you want. If you're going hybrid, there's also a industry standard. So we have to determine that. And then we determine, that determines how many words you need to write a day. And so I help them get set up. I help them set their manuscript up. So they're in we do a little outline. And this is like an hour process, hour and a half at the most. And then they set their time up on their calendar. I teach them how to set appointments with themselves so that they have time blocked.
Okay.
And they have access to me for 30 days through text or email. but we have a meeting set once a week where we come together and we talk about whatever they want to talk about, highs and lows. I look at some of their work, I give suggestions, but they also, like I said, they have access to me in between.
Yeah.
And then the final meeting is just clean up. And then where did you go from here? Where do you go? I have other connections because, the first draft isn't always the best, but it's out. You've got it out of your head. So that's what we're doing. And that's it.
That is so interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also have part of that coaching is I have a virtual co-working space they get to come to for a year. So they can meet with other people who are doing the same thing they're doing. They're either in the beginning or they're in the farther end of their journey. And because I'm in the writing world, I have all kinds of industry experts that I bring in each time, and they can ask questions, and it's like a round table. They can share their work. Yeah. So
that's wonderful.
It's trying to be like a little community, because writing is, you write in a vacuum and you need the feedback and the positive reinforcement from other people.
Yeah, that makes
what I do.
Sense. And that's so interesting about the word count. Like, I didn't realize that there was anything to that. And and I feel like there's been a lot of people that like lately are like, oh, I wrote something and I put it on Amazon. And then there's others that are like, oh no, you have to go the traditional route. But in your opinion, does it really matter? Or does it really depend on what you are wanting to do behind that?
It does matter.
Okay.
So if you are writing a book and you don't want to market and promote, if you're writing a book and you want it to get in schools and libraries, you most likely need to go to a traditional publisher. You might need to have a literary agent. But that's what I talk about with them with. And I've had a couple people who just told me they wanted to put their book on Amazon. And I said, no, you need to go to an agent and get a publication deal, because this message that you have is so strong and so needed. And I said, spend a year looking for an agent or a publisher before you self-publish, because they give you money. They give you money for your book. Up front.
Wow. Okay. That's really neat.
For me, if it's a project that I can see that I think has got very good merit and very good value, I've done that with a couple people, and they had no idea that was even an option.
Yeah, Amazon was the first thing that I know came to mind. Even when I talked with a couple of people when I was started talking about writing mine, and everybody was like, "Oh, just go to Amazon." I was like, "Does that really, does it matter?" But that makes a lot of sense.
It does matter, and there's hybrid publishers out there, and there's small presses out there, and there's all kinds of things. There's another place called Ingram Spark, which is the warehouse that stores and pull their books from. You can publish through them as well.
Oh, okay.
So there's a lot of myths out there about the publishing industry, and that's what I work with my clients. And that's what we discover in our first meeting is, what's their idea for this book? What do they want to do with it? And I help them explore places that they never even thought of.
I love that so much, because I do feel like there are so many people out there that are ready to share their story in one way or another. And just like starting your own business, right? We get stuck in the process of it. And that's what ultimately ends up stopping us from moving forward, is because we don't feel like we have a place to go. We don't know who to chat with, or what avenue to even take to get to that first step.
Or you don't want to invest in going to 2 years worth of school, or you don't want, you don't know what workshops to take or who to listen to. The biggest thing I get from people is, I don't know where to start and I don't have the time. And so those are two big things that I can help them overcome after talking to them for 10 minutes.
And that's why Sally's the expert. Now, I have a question because, a lot of people I talk with, they, and that I've heard, everyone talks about writer's block. So do you have any tips around that for someone that maybe really does kind of want to start kind of figuring things out? I even myself have tried like scheduling in writing time, but I know that like depending on what's going on that day, like sometimes that really screws up my brain to even be able to sit down and like focus to the other things. So do you have any suggestions that can help kind of combat that if someone is wanting to go that direction?
Yes. First of all, writer's block is usually writer's procrastination.
Okay.
I recommend scheduling the time that is the best time of day for you to write. For me, it's first thing in the morning. I used to get up at 4:30 in the morning and write before I went to work. And that's when I did it, from 4:30 to 6:30. Well, because I wanted to be a writer, I wanted to write my story.
Yeah.
If nighttime is your time to write, then that's when you schedule your time. I have friends who walk their dog and they dictate into their phone while they're walking their dog.
Okay.
Or when they're driving, they get an idea and they just, hey Siri, and they dictate into their phone while they're driving. Oh, my phone just, yes.
No, Siri, not right now.
He's talking to me. So as far as writer's block, the biggest problem that we have with writer's block is we're doing too much and we're not letting our minds just stop and daydream and do nothing. We either have a phone in front of our face, we either doing something, going somewhere, planning. And for me, it's taking a walk, taking a breath, sitting on the couch, doing nothing for like 5 minutes, even if it's just having some meditation music on. Another really good way is if it is your writing time and you're not in the mood, is to just sit down it has to be paper and a pen. You cannot use a computer.
Okay, I was about to ask that.
It's the tactile motion of your hand, pen, paper, the words flowing from your head and heart, out your arm, onto the paper. Just visualize that. You can go online. There's all kinds of sites that have writing prompts, and you just pick a prompt and you just write for 10 minutes. I even tell people just to write for 10 minutes. I am a writer. I am a writer. I am a writer. I'm a writer. I'm a writer. And things come out because you're just letting yourself, not think about it.
Yeah.
So writing prompts are really fun. You just set your timer for 10 minutes and you don't do anything else and you don't think about what you're writing. You just go and you don't edit it. And you just, even if it's stupid, it's okay. The stupider, the better. So that's the main thing. Writers procrastinate. Number one, we have our time set aside, but oh boy, the laundry needs to be done. Or, oh, I forgot to call my mom. Or, oh, I really got to go get gas,
Yeah.
All the things come in to stop it. And that's why I say set it at a time when you're not going to be distracted.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I have a friend who takes her daughter to horse lessons all the time, and that's her writing time. She sits there with her laptop because she knows, she's not distracted. She can't go do the laundry. And she just sits there and writes for an hour.
That's so interesting. And it's funny that you said pen to paper, because I have been told that before by several people where, we're so used to like typing notes in the computer or whatever the case may be. But I have had a lot of people say that there's something within the brain that you almost kind of shut off, kind of like that creative space when you are trying to do it on a computer or things like that. Whereas there's something in this physical being of a pen and a piece of paper and it meeting that
It's the tactile, the pen in your hand, holding it. It's not the screen, reading a book versus reading it on your Kindle versus the paper, two different experiences, right? Screen time is what we have all of the time, and our brain just doesn't look at it the same way. I can't explain it. I just know that when I write with a pen and paper, that it feels different and the words will flow a lot easier. I've done many drafts by pen first.
It makes sense. And like you said,
I have my remarkable. I write in this. I write it. It's like a paper and pen. It's almost the same. And then I can see it on my screen when I'm done, and I can transcribe it or I can turn it into text.
And it's, you were saying that there's something within like feeling it, because like you said, we do have computer screens in front of us all day. And I didn't think about that at all. I don't know why that did not cross my brain, but we really do have computer screens in front of us all day, whether it's your laptop, your phone, whatever the case may be. So that makes perfect sense why for a lot of people, and I'm sure for some it does work, but for a lot of people, if you're staring at your computer, it's going to shut that part of your brain off, because it's instantly thinking that we're going to get filled with information versus putting information out. Yeah.
Even the typing, I don't know, it's different. When you're typing, sometimes you type so fast that your brain can't catch up. But when you're writing by hand, it's the same moment.
Yeah.
That makes sense. When I think the word heart, I'm writing heart. But when I'm typing, I could be like 4 words ahead, right?
Oh yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. I can't tell you how many times I've tried typing something out fast and lost my train of thought.
See that? So it kind of like, to me, it's like the ADHD thing. It kind of keeps my head and my brain on track while I'm going. And if you make a mistake when you're handwriting, it doesn't matter. Just put a line through it and keep on going. Don't even do that. Just keep on going.
You know what? I was actually taught that when I started journaling. That was something that one of my mentors discussed with me, was really like physically writing out the thoughts that were in my head. And like you were saying, don't think about it, just start writing it. And it is interesting, when I first started doing that, as long as I wasn't like had this preconceived notion, if I just went in, whatever it was, right? I'm angry, this is ticking me off, whatever, and just started writing the emotions, I was like, oh, I'll at least give it 5 minutes. And then I'd look up and I'd had 4 pages, it's been like 20 minutes.
Like,
and I wrote all this
happen?
Stuff. And it's like,
it's
wait a
true.
Minute, what?
It's true. So that's why I say that if you're experiencing not being able to write when it's your writing time, then just shut down the computer, get a pad and paper out, and just handwrite. And it's okay if you have to transcribe it into your computer. It's fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Or talk. Talk is good too. You have to.
I have heard that. And I've also heard about people doing walking meditations that do that when they're kind of listening to it and walking as well, for those that, have a really hard time sitting still, or again, like you said, with all the things that are around us, we tend to find ourselves distracted because it's so easy to be like, oh, well, I need to do this, or, oh, this needs to be taken care of, kind of a thing. I know for me, especially if I'm wanting to like meditate and kind of get everything out of my head so I can refocus, my big thing is to sit outside or sit on my front porch or sit, and I have a chair in my office back here, and have everything else shut down so that you don't have those distractions.
Right. That's the thing too. And I like to work with kids too, to give them little writing prompts and little things to do. They have so much coming at them all the time. I got to go to this class. I got to go to this practice. I got to go to a game. I got to go to this. They don't have time anymore to use their imaginations. And it's a skill we're losing.
It is.
There's a quote that Albert Einstein has about using your imagination, and I can't think of it right now off the top of my head, but you can look it up. And just think of not all the things that were invented because somebody imagined them.
Yeah.
And all the things that we have because someone imagined them. And if we don't stop and slow down a little bit and let our imaginations go, what's going to happen?
Yeah, no, you are so right. I was actually, and it's funny because I know what quote you're talking about and I can't think of it either.
I know.
But it is talking about like, you really have to be able to use the imagination to bring the dreams to reality, because we do get stuck in such a habitual way of doing things that our bodies are basically on autopilot. And you can only be on autopilot for so long before all of a sudden you just feel completely drained and worn out. But you're so right. Those that have created some of the most brilliant things around us is because they went outside of that box, because they did the unexpected, because they used their imagination. They tried to look at some things from a different perspective than what society normally was. And if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have some of the things we have today.
Right. That's right. And that's why I write.
Well, I love that you have found your passion, and I love that you have turned this into a business where you can now help other people that really do feel compelled to get their story out there or share that message on one platform or another. I think it's just inspiring to see that you can take something that you love so fully and be able to gift it to other people who are struggling with it, but know that there's a reason for it.
Right. Right. And people are usually very scared when they come to me, and it's like I'm walking them through this process, and it's very like uplifting for them. And it can be emotional, but it's also like, I got it done. Finally, I've been thinking about doing this for 10 years. Finally got it done.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like crossing that one goal, that big giant goal off your list.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's scary. And to me, it's jumping out of an airplane is a scarier thing. I would rather sit and write a book. Right?
Yeah, no, it makes total sense. Well, Sally, I can't thank you enough for being a part of the podcast and giving us all of your insight and your tips on all this, because there's so many pieces and there are so many people that are getting to the point to where they're ready to share stories and stuff. So for anybody that's out there, Sally can help you write your book in 30 days. But
by the hour, or I can do an hour if you need an hour.
So before we go, I always ask my guests one question, and that is, do you happen to have a quote or a piece of advice you'd like to leave them with today?
My newest quote, and I'm not sure if I made this up or I heard it somewhere, is do not let your past define you. Let it refine you.
Oh, I like that. Do not let it define you. Let it refine
you. So many of us live in our past hurts and pains. Let it refine you.
That's beautiful. Oh, Sally, thank you so much. Well, do us a favor then before we go. Share with everybody, where can they find you? How can they get in touch with you? Where can they connect with you?
So if you just go to my website, everything is there. My Instagram, my Twitter, my LinkedIn, my email. It's super easy. It's sallylotz.com, which LOTZ. I mean, it's easy.
Right. And we'll make sure we have all that information in the show notes as well. I can't thank you enough for being a part of the podcast today and sharing all the juicy things with us and teaching us some things about writing a book. That's super awesome. So I'm so glad that you're enjoying your passion, Sally. So thank you so much for sharing your journey with us here. To everybody else that's out there, I hope you guys had some amazing takeaways. Be sure to check out Sally's website and get some more information and get connected with her, especially if you are ready to tell your story. And don't forget, until next time, do one thing for someone each and every day and see the difference that it makes in your life. So until next time, have a fantastic day. Hello again, and thank you so much for being a part of the podcast today. If you enjoyed this episode and it brought tons of value, we ask that you please share, like, and subscribe. Your support means the world to us and helps us to reach even more inspiring entrepreneurs who can benefit from these powerful conversations. If you haven't already, be sure to leave a review on your favorite podcast platform, as this feedback is an amazing gift that fuels our growth and helps us to continually improve this podcast. Looking for an extra dose of inspiration and empowerment? Then be sure to connect with me on social media. You can find me at The Lotus Effect, where I share valuable resources and tips while sharing my own journey of being an entrepreneur. And if you're interested in learning more about my coaching programs and services, be sure to check out my website at the-lotus-effect.com. Once again, thank you so much for being a part of Real Chat with Kat. Your presence and support makes all the difference. Remember, whether you find yourself in the depths of the mud or on the path of growth, we all have a unique journey. And just like the lotus, some of us start in the dirtiest of mud, yet as we rise and grow, we blossom into something beautiful, unique, and truly one of a kind. To all of my visionaries out there, keep rising and growing as you create your own Lotus Effect.